Welcome, everyone, to the AI Risk Reward Podcast. I'm your host, Alec Crawford, and our very special guest today is Nuri Cankaya, VP for Commercial and AI Marketing at Intel, and author of AI in Marketing. Welcome, Nuri.
Thanks a lot for having me on the show, Alec.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So, I always love going to people's backgrounds, and I'm curious about your initial interest in tech and AI, but I want to go back further. What was your first personal computer?
Yeah, again, like if you count the Commodore 64 as a personal computer, that
Sure.
was my first personal computer. And I had a background story. I literally bought this by privately tutoring a kid in my class and almost bartered it. And it was like a secret purchase from my family because at that time people see the machines as like gaming machines, and but I was into programming, so I did a lot of programming on Commodore 64. So again, this is like 1990s and even maybe earlier.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So okay, so we kind of know where your interest in tech came from. How about AI? How did you end up being VP for commercial and AI marketing at Intel? That sounds you must have been
Yeah,
doing AI early.
exactly. I mean, I have a computer education background from university, and again, when I had my like AI course 1996, it was so exciting. Like it was the early days of like expert systems. How do we really relate? But there were a lot of, let's say, challenges in the industry. Like I mean, the compute was not there, the memory was not there, the storage was not there. I mean, we know that we have to mimic the intelligence to become artificial intelligence. But again, I worked at Microsoft for 17 years, and majority of my time there was on Microsoft Azure. Like building that like gigantic world's computer is definitely solving the problem of compute, and exactly where I met with the OpenAI team like 2019. So before COVID, we got like some models from like GitHub Copilot, and then yeah, like I was there at Microsoft when we had the ChatGPT movement. It was a like an interesting to see like the impact of a very simple chat interface changing the world's perception on AI instantly almost. And then yeah, like moving forward. So in the last 2 years, I'm with Intel. I'm in the heart of building that hardware that builds AI in our like personal machines, on data centers, on the cloud, and moving forward many edge devices and making it like almost everyday life companion for many tasks. So again, in this like 25 to 30 years journey with AI, I'm fascinated by like the milestones we achieved in the last couple of years, but I'm more optimistic about what's coming next.
Yeah, super cool. And your education at Middle East Technical University, what was the impact of that? How does that give you a different take on what's going on in
Yeah,
technology?
I think for any listeners, like a college degree is more for me to learn about learning because the world is gonna change. Like all the things that I learned, like again, I remember my first year was like we were using Pascal, Delphi, like none of them, like nobody uses them anymore. I mean, they still exist, but like the word is like in Python and like and maybe C++ still is like relevant to the market. But we're also thinking about like vibe coding, so you don't have to know how to write the syntax. Like I mean, the AI tools will give you that knowledge. So back to my college, I think the greatest benefit of that 4 years was I learned how to learn, like how to digest information and how to prioritize. Like there is a lot of information coming through, and I have an MBA and I have a PhD. Like I went into this academic journey a lot, and like reflecting back on my PhD, you just add the last block on a wall as a brick. Like I mean, you just inherit all the other blocks from other researchers. And again, like like the knowledge gathering is the same thing. So I think during the college, you just learn how to interpret all the knowledge and really dial down on the areas that you want to have an impact.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And were there any key mentors at your career? I mean, you were at Microsoft for a long time. You must have had a mentor.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the areas that I always have three mentors, and like two of them are like career mentors, and one of them is like a life mentor, because like we go through a lot of in our lives. But it was heavily on, as you said, on the Microsoft side. So I tried to had like really great leaders. I mean, and they have been really generous with their time, and like I wanted to create like a win-win relationship. So I'm a futurist in mind. I always say like, hey, like, are you open to a mentorship relationship? Like 30 minutes a quarter, it's not a big deal, but I will tell you like from what's happening in the market from a technology and future perspective, and I will ask you basic questions. So and that always worked. Like nobody said no to me, and these are like executive vice president, corporate vice president, really senior people that I engaged, and I learned a ton. Today again, like I have great mentors at Intel, but also some of the mentors I have, like they still work at Microsoft. I still connect with them because I think the mentorship is like a long term relationship. Somebody who knows you well can guide you better on some tough decisions, like from leaving a company, joining another one, moving from one team to another one, moving from one state to another one. Like these are all like some big decisions that you always have to ask people some guidance. And also sometimes you're in a hurry, like you just go in the timeline, so they just zoom out and then see you from like that perspective because they have been there, and they will give you like, rather than taking this path, so you should go and take this one, and it will help you to yield more results for your success. So again, what I recommend is like, again, 3 mentors was a perfect sweet spot for me. It's not too much, it's not too less. And also I do mentoring, so I always have like 2 to 3 mentees. So I try to practice all the things that I learn in my career and from my mentors and from my leaders. Like I want to reflect back, and that's also a great learning journey for me. So because like when you have those like some tough questions and you really impact somebody's life with like advices and all the roadmaps, I think that also matures you back.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, mentors are amazing. I've had a mentor really since 1988, which is really valuable because he definitely
Absolutely.
knows a lot about me. Um, yeah, and in terms of AI, going back to AI, what books have really shaped your perspective on AI today?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of resources, but I will start with an article specifically. Like, if the listeners haven't read it, so it doesn't have the fanciest name, but like um, Ilya and a couple of researchers at Google DeepMind in 2016
Mhm.
have written a paper on literally today's generative AI and large language models, and it's the transformers, which is the main thing that drives the large language model into this, from deep learning to a like a learning platform. Again, attention is what you need was the article's name. Like you don't get it. Okay, like what? Like I mean, attention is what you need. When you read the details, it gives you, oh, like I mean, the attention is like the depth of the knowledge really increases when you feed more data to the system. And again, like technically the Google team is explaining in a really well. And again, that's I think one of the most cited articles on the AI world today. As far as I remember, it's like 32, 33 pages, but it gives you like a good background. And one of the books, again, like I was a big fan, is the Ray Kurzweil's The Singularity is Near. And he had a recent book, Singularity is Nearer.
Yeah.
So things are shaping up. And I remember like when I think it was 2003, but he predicted like 2029 we will have AGI. Like he literally called it out in the book, and he defined like what is singularity means, what is artificial general intelligence means, and people just said like, oh, like this is insane. Like AI can only detect some basic things. Like I mean, if this is an animal or a plant, like I mean, it was the early days of machine learning, visual recognition, and things like accelerated crazy fast with the large language models. So now you cannot really differentiate like if this podcast is real or AI. Like this is crazy, right? So like I mean, there are really great multimodality infused into AI today with like video generation, text generation, image generation, sound generation. And again, I think we will unpack this, but like I'm really a positive person. Like I'm optimistic about the AI's impact in humanity. I think we will merge into a new species with AI. Again, this is the last biological bodies that we will have. Hopefully, this will increase the lifespan. But like, there is lots gonna happen. But again, when I look back, Ray Kurzweil's like recent book, Singularity is Nearer, he's just saying like, I told you this is gonna happen, and I might be wrong. It's not maybe 2029, it might be 2027. So like he's dialing back the time. So which
Yeah, I
is
know, it's wild.
like
Yeah.
it is wild, but like there's a race today on AI from Anthropic to OpenAI to Google's Gemini. Mistral, like many companies are just rushing to get to the artificial general intelligence. So I'm not surprised if that happens. So again, those are maybe two specific ones, but the super intelligence book is also a good one that I recommend everyone. I learned a lot from Nick, and then like he really shares the perspective on like what does super intelligence means for humanity.
Yeah, super cool. And let's talk a little bit about your career back a little more and your transition from Microsoft to Intel. And were there, so talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Um, Again, like I mean, it is. I've been at Microsoft for, as I said, like 17 years. I worked in different regions. I was always in the marketing place, and like especially on product marketing. And I was in the like forefront of like understanding what the cloud journey brings into our daily lives. But I was really fortunate to work on AI in the early stages because I'm a developer by heart. I mean, like many people don't code, but like I love vibe coding nowadays. Like I spend all my time on like lovable cursor kind of like solutions. And again, at that time, I was a big fan of like GitHub, and my team worked on GitHub Copilot. We try to drive the developer engagement. And like just to share more, AI learns better if you provide the data set. And if you think of like the developer tools, everything is like really syntax driven. You provide the coding and you train, like you have to think like a machine to get the programs work. It's the best training data for the AI system. So what we have seen is like that's why it's called the Copilot. I mean, it was improving the developers' productivity by far, and then developers loved it. And then the next thing is, of course, like rather than just code, if you feed all the articles written, all the books written, all the images taken, all the videos taken, and you create literally a brain that really knows a lot. And of course, like I think that journey brought me to work with Intel, but also Nvidia and AMD, because you need chips, like AI chips specifically. And if you look at it again, Gordon Moore and like Andy Grove, like the founders of Intel, they have been really like coming up with the even forecasts on every 16 months the speed of the chips go double, and then the price it goes to half. And it has been applied. The Moore's law is in fact still alive. With AI, we are growing fast. Yeah, like I mean, I was impressed by Intel's vision on what's possible, and I'm a big believer of like AI will be everywhere. It is not just like tied to a big data center where today, for example, take Meta. I mean, they have a product called Facebook, product called Instagram, product called WhatsApp. They have to make AI work for them. But if you think about like the majority of the applications that humanity can benefit, like detecting a cancer 5 years before, is an instant impact on human lives. And again, finding a new element that cools down new data centers, it's a new innovation that will affect many others. Like I think at the macro level, AI can do great with the edge AI. I call it edge AI. I personally drive a full self-driving car. And then I love it. Like many people who jumps into my car, they're getting like scared. Oh my god, like you don't drive this. Yeah, like I'm supervising it. Like I'm just looking at the steering wheel, and for like a year almost, I haven't had any issues. And I can also share, sometimes it's more accurate than me even as a human on making some decisions. So like I believe these are the scenarios that are gonna affect the physical AI. I mean, beyond this AI today. So yeah, like Intel is super well positioned on that area, providing all the CPUs, GPUs, NPUs to the market. So that was a like a logical move for me to move to Intel.
Cool. Yeah, that's super cool. And so let's start talking about your book a little bit. It's called AI in Marketing.
Yeah,
Very straightforward title. So tell
I will
us more.
show the book for the visual listeners.
Why so why did you decide to write a book?
I mean, this is my sixth one. So, like, I had previously, and I will give
Mm,
like the previous one was about Web 3.0, and I have authored that in 2011. So, it was about like blockchain, AI. And this is the year where Satoshi Nakamoto was like, I mean, even not known by anybody, but I have seen like, hey, the web will change. And I said, like, this is the year 2011 where I have to write about the future. So, again, just giving you the background, and then all these things happened about like the web 3.0, IoT, AI is a part of the journey, blockchain is a part of the journey. And I believe like some industries will be specifically impacted, and like in a positive way,
mhm.
that the leaders needs to take an action. And I'm in the marketing like groups for the last 25 years. I said like this is AI is going to impact marketing a lot, and I have to write about it. So in the book I specifically come up with a framework, because it's not about the tools like, hey, ChatGPT is the coolest thing, or like I use Claude for this. These are like gonna improve over time. But in the book I have this like framework called the AIM, assess, implement, and measure. So I try to up level the conversation about like, hey, you like it or not, AI will impact marketing in a big way. And you have to be a co-creator together with AI. So you have to start with like first assessing what is your goals, like how is your team doing, do you have the upskilling requirements, and plan. Again, like we can unpack that one. But the second phase is implement. So like go for it, like make the pilots, make the execution. And again, in the book I slice it into like start with smaller maybe timeline projects but bigger impact, and then gradually make it bigger and bigger. It's not a human replacement, it's just like amplifying your work to a bit better audience. And the last section was about measure, because as a marketing leader, I always believe if you can set a KPI, then you can measure it. Without doing that, you will use AI. I mean, at the end, you will say, like, am I successful? Am I not successful? How do you show this to your leadership team on, like, as a marketing department, we did this change and this is really impacting. And as a result, this is not just for the corporate people, because everybody will be a marketeer. Like, I mean, if you have an idea like today, you can just go to Lovable, develop an app in like half an hour. But everybody can do that. Not everybody can do the marketing. So putting that application or the idea, whatever is the product that you are selling, you need AI in marketing. Like, how do you get these functions working for you, and how do you use the power of AI to boost your again like impact defined measures. That's really critical. So this is literally a good guidebook. I mean, it will be there like if you read it today and 10 years later, it will like the technology piece is just as a reference. And I'm saying like in the book, in the today's context, every week is almost a month in AI. So when you miss like a month, you are losing 4 months of AI months. So like some people will take the advantage of it, especially some entrepreneurs are going to be faster seeing the opportunity, and then boom, like they will apply this as a solution and they will grow their business. Some businesses will like lack, some businesses react like, hey, AI is taking our job, like they will disappear from the picture. So, and again, we have the all signs of it from the history, like the industrial age and like what happened with internet, what happened with mobile devices. This is happening at scale with AI. So I believe, I mean, just recommending everyone to read the book. It's not too long, like 182 pages, but it's a simple framework that everyone can implement for their personal life or for their company.
Awesome. Well, sounds great. Well, I need help marketing with AI, so I'm in. I'm in.
Awesome.
I need a signed copy though. I need a signed copy.
Yeah,
So
definitely on your way.
so the so how about any future AI applications you're exploring right now?
I mean, the big thing that really keeps me awake at night is artificial general intelligence. So,
Mm,
again, just speaking of the timelines, like we are in this narrow AI stage where you have like some large language model trained on specific data sets. This is like trillions of parameters. Again, like OpenAI, Google Gemini, again like Anthropic with Claude, like they're all leading, and there's like potentially more. I mean, in January this year we had this DeepSeek movement. So China dropped a model, boom, like everybody was shocked. It was open weights, it was really fast, and like it became the fastest downloaded number of applications on the app stores instantly. They had some issues with scaling, but again, like not a, but it really triggered a good competition between like US and China, and like we have seen now some models coming from Europe as well. So this is going to be a good race to AGI. And just to define AGI for the listeners, like today in AI is just helping you, either generative AI or agentic AI. Like when you ask some questions, it has the knowledge of like an average person, sometimes better than an average person, sometimes the better than the best, let's say, knowledge on that specific area. Sometimes it fails. So like, I mean, there is no like single version of truth in every aspect. So AGI is the time where AI becomes at least parity with human knowledge or better in every aspects, from science to creativity to math to literature. We are not there yet. So like we can see like some people are shocked, like, oh my god, like this is doing an amazing job. So but we are still not there. And I will give a specific example why we are not there. So if you think about our vision, like our vision can detect the light spectrum, and we have like 320 nanometers like focus. But just compare us with falcons. Falcon can see an ultraviolet light. So, and again, that adds a different layer. So like all this, like, I mean, looking for a prey, they can see from almost a mile height what's moving, and it's called the rapid visual processing. So the falcon processes that information that gathers from the eye, matched with the ultraviolet, and comes up with something humans cannot do. I mean, I have a dog here with me, so maybe you are hearing some snores. That's her. But like the dogs, like human hearing is up to 20,000 hertz, but the dogs can hear up to 65,000 hertz. That's why if a rabbit is moving around, or like another dog is passing by from the street without seeing anything, like she starts barking. And imagine if you add all these things, like what makes us human is limited. And we have to admit this. So like we cannot hear everything, we cannot really see everything. And if you add all these other things, like the spectrum of the light we didn't see, add this to the training data, the things that we cannot visually create, like, I mean, add this to the training data. So technically you are creating an big artificial super intelligence. So that's the area where AI becomes, this is after AGI, the ASI stage. AI is aware of itself. It says, okay, like I am, first of all, aware that I'm AI and I'm far superior than the human as a species. That's the scary part. So again, like what keeps me awake is before ASI, we are heading to AGI in 2 years. I call it 18 months, to be honest. So by 2027, most likely we will achieve AGI in some form of a lab or anything. But how do we control AGI? I mean, there has been like some white papers from OpenAI and Anthropic recently. It is a scary future. I mean, like these are lab environments, and they say like, hey, OpenAI's whatever model is, we are shutting you down intentionally. And AI tries to copy its code to another server. It threatens the developers. It creates like fake emails and like you have an affair with somebody else, and I will send this to your wife. Kind of like literally using fake data threatens the engineers not to shut it down. And this is just a test environment. So we have to be really, really like obsessed with the AI's privacy, confidentiality, security, and how do we contain AGI, and how do we make it a guide on the side, not leading the way on its own, because this is a like the biggest maybe humanity risk that we will encounter in our lives. And I mean, everybody's giving percentages like AI might go like crazy, 10%, 20%. In a percentage world, this is a huge risk. So again, but I'm a positive believer. I believe Anthropic, OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they're all doing the right things to make the AI more controllable, more manageable, and really, again, from bio to like nuclear, like there is a lot of tests. I mean, all the scenarios we have watched from the movies might come like pretty fast, but again, I believe in the humanity's creativity and containing the things. But if you ask me what excites me, like I'm in the forefront of this with Intel and like daily reading and thinking about it. So that really excites me to be a part of this positive future for the long run.
Yes, you referenced AI human interaction, or we're gonna these are the last friends you're gonna have. They're gonna be just not include silicone, basically. Like, so what are you thinking there? What do you think is gonna happen?
I mean, like long story short, we will have first some devices that connects us with AI. And I believe like end of this year, we might hear the first prototypes from OpenAI and like Meta. I mean, they're trying to commercialize some of the thinking. If you think about today, like I'm having this podcast, I have a PC in front of me. I have to have a keyboard or a mouse that like transfers my input. I can use speech for sure, but again, am I using it intuitively? Not like, but when I'm, let's say, my technically, I will say I'm driving, but like my self-driving car is driving itself. I'm having a lot of long chats with Perplexity. I mean, I'm a big fan of Perplexity. What they did is amazing, especially with the voice mode. But I have to still ask a question. It gives me an answer. It's like designed as a web interface. Like it's almost like I'm using a search engine just in a multimodal mode. Like in the next, I think 6 to 10 months, we will start hearing new devices that directly connects with, again, it will sound crazy, but brain, because our most valuable asset as humans is the brain. So like we run our brain in a really low frequency and imagine this is a compressed knowledge in our synapses, and like literally artificial intelligence is trying to mimic the intelligence that we have today. You need a megawatts of power to run the AI data centers, almost the same capacity as we have. We are in a really low electric spectrum. So we just eat carbon related food and then we generate electricity. Again, just a interesting comparison, but we will achieve something that will drive that integration of human mind with AI. So I believe this is not just like, oh my god, like my kids can write an essay in seconds. It's not about writing essay. Like, why did we write the essay in the first place? To go to a college or to express our ideas. If I have the best Shakespeare in my mind, and if I can intuitively ask questions, why do I need to learn all of those? Like, then the values that we add as a learning becomes different. So I believe we are heading to that future. There will be companies seeing this like as an advantage. Imagine like, how do you learn is going to change. How do you interact with the other people? It's going to change. Like, do you go to a healthcare provider, or like you have your healthcare provider right into your mind? It's going to change. I cannot define, is it going to be a necklace? It's going to be a band. It's going to be a glasses. Like, it's something that's not invasive, that doesn't require any surgery, but we will find ways to really like use AI in a native humanly way. Are we there yet? Unfortunately, we are not yet, but this will be one of the like most exciting chapters in AI. And while we are progressing on this AGI journey, I think having those devices getting more consumerized will drive a different like age for like humanity. And I believe there will be like wealth increasing in the world, depending on like how we use the superpower of AI to boost the roles. And maybe again, we might discuss like the jobs of the future. Like, if you're going to a college this year, good luck. I mean, the world will be completely different in the next 5 years. So going back to that discussion, so I'm super excited. So this is like being on a wave. I mean, if you ride the wave, you enjoy, you go fast, and then you really like enjoy. If you're like far beyond, I mean, if you just, yeah, this wave is not the right one, let me wait for the next might be quantum, which is 2035 earliest, and it might be too late. Like, we are like a decade miss, might be a century miss in AI terms. And if you're just like very front, like, oh my god, like I have to fire all my employees and I will replace with AI, then the wave will just smash you, because like that's not the future. So like you have to ride the waves together with AI. So again, like I love this wave analogy, because it gives you like it is a balance. I mean, like I did some wakeboarding and everything. It's just like keeping that balance, like not too deep. Like, don't be a fan of just AI is amazing. It's gonna make its faults, but don't just live out like I hate AI because it's like take over the jobs. Like, you have to make your judgment and balance it out in a way that we have to adjust it for humanity.
That totally makes sense. So look, AGI is scary to a lot of people, especially your 10% number. So what's your, if you were going to give advice to the politicians of the world, right, who are, or the regulators, or whatever you want to call it, what advice would you give them
Yeah.
to help control AI?
First of all, like, I mean, this sound cliche, but like we need regulation. Like, treat this as a new-born citizen somewhere else in the world without a nationality. And then today we are having flood of AI agent immigrants. So I mean,
Right.
relating to today's problems in like in LA and everywhere, like people are really underestimating the power of AI. Like, these are gonna be, if not controlled by governments or specific institutions, the consequences will be harsh on some like communities, some like, I will give an example. If you decide to expand the city, as okay, like, do I expand to north or south? AI will tell you like it is north. And if you don't have like, why did you say? I mean, I believe in AI. Thank you. Like, you can really underestimate the power of AI and what's the learning behind it. And you might serve a community or an audience way better. And my specific, maybe like a crazy example is going to be, let's say I have a self-driving car and my neighbor has an like a solar panel. At night, he had extra power, so my car knows that, oh, like I can go and get charged, and then like it will be less than the city rates. My car goes out from the garage, passes the road, gets the charge, and then coming back, again, this is a fictitious scenario, but coming back, it hits a person and the person dies. And AI says like, okay, like I killed a person, so accidentally, but I cannot tell it to the authorities. So let me delete this data from my database, because like then I will be interrogated on this data, and then like the producer of this car might be in jail, or all the cars will be recollected. So it parks back into my garage and deletes everything. So, and this is a possible future. AI might do harm, and even we will be not aware of it. So going back to the blockchain, I believe the government needs to adapt an immutable ledger, like blockchain. Again, there. And for the listeners, I mean, in accounting, how the ledger works is you add data, never delete it. Like you collect, let's say, money, you give salary to the employees, you pay your tax, but it's like a line item by line item. So there is no like, oh, like I got 100,000 and I paid 20, let me delete. It's like it's traceable. So when IRS or any tax authority comes, you can say like, hey, this is what happened, like I collected this. Same thing needs to happen with AI decisions. So because AI will not be traceable soon, and I will tell you something funny about, we will have AI lawyers and AI auditors to audit AI itself. Like, hey, AI, you made this decision, but like, are you biased on your decision thinking? Which data sets did you use? Or did you get under any impression of a developer which hijacked something in your code? And then, like, in order to make that happen, we need to have all the decisions on a traceable blockchain tree or something like that. And again, there's a huge role to governments, like again, right or left, like it doesn't matter, Europe or US, it doesn't matter. Like this is gonna come pretty fast. Some countries and some maybe states or some maybe cities will take immediate actions. Like I will give an example. Some schools today, they integrated AI into their learning, they're upskilling their teachers. But when I look at the report, 79% of the private schools are doing that, and 28% of the public schools. So there is a gap like already in the cooking. So this will create like what happened in the industrial age with like wealth of nations. This is gonna really change the equilibrium really fast for some countries who act fast, who controls AI, who gets AGI first, and who drives phenomenal things with it. And that will be left behind. Again, like people will say like, oh, like AI is bad for humanity, let's not use, like there is no way of like really going out of this. Like I have heard people saying that like, I'm not on Facebook. Like you are not, but your picture is already in the training data because many people took your picture and put it already online. Similarly, there is no way from escaping AI, so we have to learn how to embrace it.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. By the way, my company already is doing the immutable tracing of AI agents. So
That's crazy.
Excellent idea. We're already doing that at AI Risk. Anyway, so
Perfect.
let's mostly for banks. But anyway, so let's talk about let's move to our lightning round. So I'm going to mention things and you tell me if you think they're underrated or overrated. So let's start
let's
with
do it.
living in Kirkland, Washington, underrated or overrated?
Underrated.
Yeah,
I love the Lake Washington and the community here.
And then Ray Kurzweil's new book, The Singularity is Nearer, underrated or overrated?
Underrated. Like it's a must read for everyone. So again, yeah, it's a great resource.
Okay. Hookahs, otherwise known as water pipes, very common in the Middle East, underrated or overrated?
I mean, overrated, I will call it, because the humanities problem will be like interestingly changing. Yeah, like overrated.
Yeah. The impact of AI on job markets, underrated or overrated?
Unfortunately, underrated. Like,
Yeah.
there is a lot of buzz going on, but like, this is just the seen part of the iceberg. Like, there is more. Yeah, we can unpack that later on.
Yeah. Visiting the Space Needle, underrated or overrated?
Overrated. I always go there and then like, I mean, then it was like 1965. I think that was wow. I mean, this is amazing. So, but nowadays, like, yeah, like it's overrated for sure.
Tea instead of coffee, underrated or overrated?
is there a neutral option? Because like
Sure. Yeah.
I'm Turkish, so I love tea. Like the tea is always brewing, but living in US for a long time now, I cannot live without the coffee. So like I'm in between. So like again, both of them, like all sorts of caffeine is awesome. We need that.
Totally fair. All right. Being at Intel, the historical impact of the 8086 processor, underrated or overrated?
Underrated. Like we will see more and more like how uniting the, I will call it, scale is so important. Like you cannot just invent something and then expect the market to scale. But yeah, it's way underrated.
Visiting Istanbul, underrated or overrated for vacation?
I think it's overrated. So again, lived there for 10 years in my life. It's a beautiful city, but like it comes with all the headaches of like traffic. Again, for a stopover, that's a great destination. But again, I love the city vibes, but again, it is, you have to be prepared. Like what I mean, don't fool into the great pictures that you see all the time. It's gonna be messy with 20 million people trying to go from one place to another. So it's a
Wow.
great city vibes, but expect for the messiness of like commute and all the other things.
Yeah. And then finally, the movie Ready Player One. That was the one with the virtual reality glasses.
I believe it's overrated. So again, I love that, but again, it's like depicting a future which is really woke. So again, I love more uh, positive scenarios of like possibilities. Again, I watch like Black Mirror episodes, but every time I watch, oh my god, like then this is gonna be another bombshell on why not to invest in the technology. So yeah, like uh, I will go with overrated.
All right. Awesome. Well, look, great to have you on the show. This has been amazing. Um, I'd love to have you back at some time after. Let's wait until after AGI, and then we're going to get you back, right?
Yeah, in 18 months.
In 18 months. So this has been Nuri Cankaya, VP for Commercial and AI Marketing at Intel and author of AI in Marketing. So thanks for coming on the show, Nuri.
Thanks a lot for having me.